I'm infuriated, furious, exasperated, and any other negative adjective you can think of. I'm astonished by her actions. My supposed wonderful girlfriend and prospective wife turned what I believed to be a solid relationship into a complete mess. Let's go back to the beginning. Sheila and I crossed paths at a private gathering. I was 19, she was 22. We often chuckled when people joked about her robbing the cradle. It didn't bother me. In fact, I felt a sense of pride that an attractive older woman found me appealing. Physically, I'm a fairly large guy, standing at 6 feet tall and weighing around 190 pounds. I've been told I have a youthful face. Sheila, on the other hand, was an attractive woman, not skinny, but slender, with nice curves, shoulder-length hair, and a great figure. She always made an effort to look her best, and most of the time, she succeeded. Perhaps, at times, a bit too much. She garnered a lot of attention, which sometimes sparked jealousy in me. Our relationship progressed, and after a few months, she proposed that I move in with her, citing her dislike for living alone. Before delving further into the story, perhaps I should provide some background information about us. I had relocated from another state, securing a job as an electrical apprentice at a prominent automotive plant. However, I needed to undergo training in the area. I enrolled in electrical training at a vocational school and performed well. My father, who already worked at the automotive plant, arranged an interview for me. I considered myself fortunate to have landed this opportunity and seized it. Initially, I stayed at the YMCA, paying $50 a week for a modest single room furnished with a bed, dresser, and desk. I also had a microwave. Facilities like the bath and showers were communal. I utilized the YMCA's gym facilities as well, mainly sticking to the pool. Sheila resided in a trailer park, which, surprisingly, was quite decent. It predominantly housed elderly retirees with well-maintained trailers, though there were a few younger residents. It was a sizable park. She had been married for about 2 years, but the marriage ended, with the husband leaving. I heard rumors that he had cheated on her and left for the other woman, though in hindsight, the truth could have been different. Sheila retained ownership of the trailer and reverted to her maiden name. She held a managerial position in sales at a local Kmart, which provided a good income, and naturally, she was paying off her trailer home. It finally happened. She persuaded me to move in with her, and life seemed wonderful. We were intimate 3 or 4 times a week, and she guided me through it all. We never discussed our past experiences. I was inexperienced when I arrived at 19. Sheila, however, had been married before, and she truly taught me about making love, not just having sex. I felt like I was starting to develop real feelings for her, beyond just the physical aspect. Every couple of months, the residents of the trailer park would gather for a communal event. They had a large recreation hall for dances and parties, as well as a pool for the trailer court's use. Most of the residents were elderly retirees, so when Sheila dressed provocatively, it certainly caught attention, maybe more than she intended. She would wear tight miniskirts and revealing tops, which, while I found attractive, also made me uncomfortable with the attention she received. It was fine if she dressed for me, but the constant ogling from other men became exhausting. I couldn't help but wonder how she behaved when I wasn't around, especially when she wore revealing outfits like those tiny 2-piece bathing suits in front of the older men, and even the younger ones. Then, one day, she introduced me to a new friend she had met at work, Gloria. They discovered they both lived in the same trailer court. Gloria and her boyfriend, Stan, lived on the other side of the court from us. Meeting Stan for the first time, I found him to be a loud and somewhat arrogant man, and I didn't particularly like him. However, Gloria was different, kind and charming, despite being around 20 years old and somewhat overweight. I couldn't understand why she stayed with someone like Stan, who was twice her age and not even married to her. Sheila, however, didn't seem to think Stan was that bad, surprising me by revealing she had known him from work for months. As we danced at the gathering, I noticed Stan holding Sheila close, whispering in her ear and even grabbing her. Despite my frustration, Sheila didn't seem bothered by it, which only fueled my anger. I decided to leave and headed back to the trailer alone. Sheila dismissed my concerns, accusing me of overreacting like a child. Feeling disrespected, I packed a suitcase and left for the YMCA, where I knew I could find a room. The following day, she called my workplace and requested that I return her call. Unless it was an emergency, we weren't permitted to take personal calls at work. Reluctantly, I dialed her number and sternly advised her never to contact me during work hours again. I couldn't risk my job due to her inappropriate behavior. I didn't speak to her for over a week. I was furious. Then, one evening after work, she was waiting for me. "Jerry, please come home. I miss you so much," she pleaded. "Don't you have Stan and your other companions to attend to your needs?" I retorted. "Please don't speak to me like that. I haven't done anything wrong," she defended. "You let every Tom, Dick, Harry, and Stan grab you." "That seems pretty wrong to me," I countered. I stopped him. "Jerry, I just didn't want to cause a scene," she explained. "What do you want from me, Sheila?" I demanded. "I want you home with me. I want our family to be together," she confessed. "Family? What family?" I scoffed. "I'm pregnant with our child, Jerry. After the baby's born, I want us to get married. We can be a family, you, me, and our baby," she revealed. "What? You're pregnant? How do you know?" I asked, stunned. "I took a pregnancy test 2 days ago. It showed positive, so I scheduled a doctor's appointment for today, and he confirmed it. You're going to be a father. Now, will you please come home?" she implored. I was overjoyed. I was going to be a father. I embraced Sheila, kissed her, and assured her I would come home after gathering my belongings. During her pregnancy, everything went smoothly. We spent time with her parents, who were thrilled. Her mother, a kind woman whom I always referred to as Mom, apparently adored me according to Sheila. I was present for the birth of our son and even assisted in the delivery. We were ecstatic, as were Sheila's parents. Sheila wanted to name our son Jerry Jr. after me, and I agreed wholeheartedly. Life felt good once again. Sheila took a 3-month leave of absence after giving birth. However, after about 2 months, we found ourselves in a heated argument. She wanted to go out, but I insisted that the baby's needs came first. I recall her arguing that she deserved some fun too. With the baby taking up much of our time, I found myself working longer hours to provide for our family. One evening, while heading to work on the second shift, I was still upset from our argument. I guess I wasn't fully focused on my job when I accidentally cut my hand. I visited the clinic to get a few stitches and was sent home for the night with some medication. On my way, I stopped at Kmart to fill my prescription and ran into Gloria. When she asked what happened, I explained about my hand. Gloria then asked if I was going straight home and requested that I drop off a package for her. Without much thought, I agreed. It turned out to be beer and cigarettes for Stan. If I had known beforehand, I might have declined. I picked up my prescription and headed home. Pulling up to Stan and Gloria's trailer, I knocked on the door, hearing noises from inside. It was evident that Stan was occupied. "Just a moment, be right there," he called out, opening the door wearing a bathrobe, clearly surprised to see me. "Gloria asked me to drop this off for you." "I cut my hand and had to get a prescription," I explained, glancing behind him and noticing a pair of purple panties and a bra similar to Sheila's. Stan swiftly expressed his gratitude, took the package, and closed the door. Hoping to find Sheila at home, I rushed back, but she wasn't there. I checked her underwear drawer, but the purple ones were nowhere to be found. I wasn't particularly angry. Surely she wouldn't have taken the baby with her. Leaving a note on the fridge, I wrote, "Where are you? I came home early and you're not here. I have to go out for a little bit. Talk to you later." I then got into my truck, pondering my next move. If she wanted to fool around, fine. I'd settle things with her and Stan and then leave for good. But what about my baby? By then, doubts had crept in about whether Jerry Jr. was even mine. Damn. I had started to love her again, and she threw it all away. Believe it or not, I found myself back at Kmart. I asked Gloria when she finished work. "In about 10 minutes. "What's wrong, Jerry?" You look like you've seen a ghost, she inquired. I really need someone to talk to. Can we go somewhere and chat for a bit? I requested. Sure, Jerry. Meet me outside the main door in about 10 minutes. I can't stay long, she agreed. I stayed silent until we reached a nearby diner. After ordering coffee, I confided, I think I just caught Stan with Sheila at your trailer. Oh no, not again. He's reverting to his old ways, she lamented. What do you mean old ways? Has he done this before? I asked. Many times, Jerry. I'll have to tell you my life story so you understand what you're dealing with. God, I almost feel sorry for Sheila. He's convincing but conniving. She had a choice, Gloria, and she wasn't forced into it. I love her, but our marriage is over. However, I do want to hear your story. I need to know why you stay with this man. And so, Gloria began her story. I was devastated by what my uncle did. Just so you know, I had dated before and wasn't a virgin, but he was my uncle. I ran out crying and went to work. Stan saw me crying again and I told him about the ultimatum. He said he lived alone and offered me a place to stay until I figured things out. Was I that naive? After work, we went to my uncle's house. Stan went in with me, and when my uncle started insulting me, Stan hit him. He said if my uncle ever touched me again, he'd come back and kill him. My uncle was terrified as Stan grabbed my things, and we left. Jerry, you have to understand, I wasn't in my right frame of mind. I was just relieved to get away from my uncle. When we got to Stan's trailer, he put my stuff in the spare room. I slept there for about a week. Then one night, Stan got me drunk and we had sex. I knew what I was doing even though I was drunk. I felt like this man had saved my life, but he just continued where my uncle left off. He started using me for sex and to keep his place clean. He would hit me if I didn't obey him. Stan lost his job about 10 months ago, I'm not exactly sure when. He was called into the office for harassment charges. Women accused him of making sexual advances, and they reported it. To keep it quiet, everyone agreed to let Stan go, and he was banned from working at Kmart again. The women were relieved they wouldn't have to testify since they were married. Later, I found out he had sex with other women who worked there, mostly single or divorced. Why didn't you leave him, Gloria? I tried twice. I had nowhere to go. The first time, I stayed at a cheap motel, but he found me and beat me. He threatened to kill or mutilate me if I went to the police. I was scared, so I went back. The second time, he hurt me badly. I missed 2 days of work. Then I met Sheila at work. I told her where Stan and I lived, and that's when I met you. I told Sheila about my uncle and how Stan took me away, but I didn't mention how bad Stan was to me. Since the four of us have been seeing each other, Stan has acted like a different person. I should have known he'd go after someone as beautiful as Sheila. What are you going to do, Jerry? Do you want out, Gloria? Do you really want to leave Stan? God, yes, Jerry, I would do anything to get out of this situation. Will you help me, Jerry? Stan will hurt me for just talking to you alone. He doesn't let me talk to hardly anyone. He's very possessive. As long as you promise to go along with everything I say and do, I'll help you get away from all this. First, I need to find out if little Jerry is my son. It might take a couple of days. Can you hang in there? I've been hanging on for over a year now. I doubt a few days will change anything. Just let me know what you want me to do, Jerry. Don't tell Stan or Sheila that we know anything about them, and I'll get back to you. I drove Gloria back to her car and then went home. It would be hard to put on a front, but I knew I could do it. I was angry enough to want my revenge on both of them. When I got home, Sheila was there with the baby. I asked her where she had been, and she tried to change the subject by asking about my hand. What happened to your hand, Jerry? I was upset when I went to work and didn't pay attention, so I cut myself. You're not blaming me for you cutting yourself, are you? No, but I would like to know where you were when I came home. I was at my mom's. The car was here when I came home. How did you get there? My mom came and got us. Why all these questions, Jerry? I didn't do anything wrong. Who said you did anything wrong? I just asked where you were. You act as though I went out and had an affair or something. I was at my mom's. You act like I'm accusing you of being unfaithful. I'm not. I just asked where you were. Besides, if I was suspicious of you, all I would have to do is verify it with my mom. See, no problem. I'm going to go take a shower and go to bed. I have to take this medication, and it's supposed to make me sleep. As soon as I went into the bathroom, I heard her on the phone. I could only hear one side of the conversation. Here's what I heard as she was talking quietly, but I heard her say, "Mom, I did something really stupid. If Jerry asks you if I was there, could you please tell him I was? Please, Mom, I need you to tell him I was there. I know you watched little Jerry for me, but I told Jerry that I was there too, and that you drove us both home. I know you like him and don't want to lie to him. But, Mom, if he finds out the truth, I'll lose him, and, Mom, I love him but really screwed up. Please, I can't tell you right now. Jerry is in the shower. I don't want him to know I talked to you. I promise I will never ask you to lie for me again, Mom. I promise. I can't tell you, Mom. Just know it was the biggest mistake of my life. Thanks, Mom, and I'm so sorry." I could hear her crying lightly as I got into the shower. When I got out, I looked in the hamper, and there were the purple panties with stains on them. She must have left quickly and come home and taken a quick shower before my mom arrived with little Jerry. Damn, stupid woman, I can't stay with a cheating partner. The only thing I needed to know now was if Jerry was mine. I got out of the shower and told Sheila I was going to sleep in the spare room for a couple of days. I couldn't risk hurting my hand again. Of course, it was a lie. I wasn't going to sleep with her. I was finished with this relationship. The next day at work, I visited the nurse in the dispensary to check on my cut, which, despite the exaggerated wrapping, wasn't too serious. I inquired about getting a DNA test done. The nurse informed me it was already on record and she could provide a copy by the following day for a small fee of $5. I agreed without hesitation. That evening, when I got home, Sheila asked if I had called her mom to confirm her whereabouts the previous day. No, I didn't. Why should I? If I can't trust you, then what's the basis of our relationship? Love and future marriage are built on truth and honesty, right? She nodded in agreement. I sensed she wanted to say something more, but she walked away. We spent some time watching TV before I retreated to the spare room, contemplating whether little Jerry was truly my son and what my next steps would be. The next day, the nurse handed me my DNA report. I asked about the process, and she explained it was a straightforward search in the files. I knew these reports were commonplace, often used by companies to screen new employees. The chances of error were minimal. All I needed to do was compare little Jerry's DNA to mine and see how many matches there were. That night, when I arrived home, Sheila was still at work, leaving me alone. I retrieved little Jerry's DNA from the safe and compared it to mine. The results were conclusive, hardly any matches at all. Jerry wasn't my son, just as I suspected. It seemed likely that Stan was the father, considering Gloria's mention of his affairs during his time at Kmart. It was time to enact my revenge and start afresh. The phone rang, and it was Gloria. "Jerry, Stan hit me again. I need out, Jerry. Please help me." "Okay, Gloria. I found out little Jerry isn't mine. He's probably Sheila and Stan's child." "Oh, my God. Stan was married before and has 2 teenage children now. His wife moved to another state to keep them away from him. Does Stan know?" "I have no idea. I want you and Stan to come to our house on Saturday. Can you do that?" "Sure, Jerry. But what's your plan?" "I'll confront Sheila about the truth. Then I'll drug both of them and ensure Stan never bothers you again." "What does Stan drink?" "I'm scared, Jerry. Stan might retaliate." "Are you sure about this?" "Don't worry. He won't bother you after Saturday. If you can discreetly pack a few things, it'll make our exit smoother. Now, what does he drink? Jim Beam and Coke, sometimes straight. You need to stay strong through this. I assure you, we'll be free of Stan soon. Just follow my lead, I urged. Okay, Jerry. I trust you. I hope whatever you're planning works, or we'll be in serious trouble, Gloria responded with a mix of apprehension and hope. With 2 days to prepare, I kept Saturday's plan secret from Sheila. It was better she knew as little as possible. I found a weekly rental apartment for Gloria and me and paid 2 weeks' rent up front. Gathering all the necessary supplies, sleeping pills, Jim Beam, margarita mix, rope, and a battery charger, I made sure we were ready. On Friday, I played nice with Sheila, which seemed to lift her spirits. I hinted at special plans for Saturday night and asked her to have her mother watch little Jerry. What's the occasion? She asked with a smile. You'll find out soon, I teased. Despite her advances, I postponed intimacy until Saturday. I kissed and touched her, feeling a mix of desire and resentment. Damn her for ruining what could have been our future together. On Saturday afternoon, Sheila took little Jerry to her mom's. I started her on margaritas early, slipping a couple of crushed sleeping pills into her drink to make her drowsy. I crushed more pills into the Jim Beam, hoping not to overdo it and cause an overdose. As I kissed the woozy Sheila, Stan and Gloria arrived. Sheila, noticing Stan, seemed unsettled. I invited our friends over for drinks. Jim Beam and Coke, right, Stan? I said, trying to maintain composure. Yeah, that's it, Stan confirmed, eyeing the disoriented Sheila. Take a seat, Stan. I'll fix Gloria a drink, I said, ensuring the drug mix was only in one bottle. Stan sat beside Sheila, who tried to distance herself. He gulped down his drink eagerly, becoming increasingly affected. After a few more drinks, he confronted us. You drugged me, he accused. Me too, Jerry. Why? Sheila slurred, succumbing to the effects. They both passed out. I undressed Stan, leaving Sheila clothed, while Gloria and I secured them with rope. We waited until they began to stir. Sheila, awakening first, groggily questioned, What's happening, Jerry? I don't understand. You betrayed me, sleeping with this scumbag. Did you really think I wouldn't find out? You were even planning to have your mom lie for you. Look at him. He's all yours now. You don't have to sneak around behind my back anymore. No, Jerry, please, I can't think straight. I still feel dizzy. I don't love him. I only love you. I made a mistake, and I was going to tell you, but I didn't think you would understand. I don't even know why I did it. It was only once, Jerry, I swear. Bullshit. You've been screwing him for months. Admit it. He's your lover. No, Jerry, it was just that one time. I went over to talk to Stan and Gloria. I was mad at you and stayed home when Mom came to pick up little Jerry. When I got there, Gloria wasn't home, and Stan invited me in. It went too far. I asked him to stop, but he didn't. It was awful, but I just wanted it to end. I was relieved when you showed up. I left as soon as you did. I haven't been with anyone else since we met, except for that mistake. Please, Jerry, I'm telling you the truth. We can work through this. I've already made up my mind. I'm leaving. No, Jerry, please don't leave me. What about our son? Are you abandoning him too? He's not my son. He's probably your lover's kid. Maybe he'll marry you and give you more kids. No, Jerry, he's yours. I haven't been with anyone else. You have to believe me. Believe this. Here's my DNA and our son's. I placed both reports in front of Sheila. This is wrong, Jerry. Your papers are wrong. Jerry is your son. How can I make you believe me? You can't. A picture is worth 1,000 words. Sheila wept. I glanced at Gloria, who looked terrified. Stan began to wake up. You little prick, I'm going to kill you. He glared at Gloria. Get over here and untie me before I beat you to death. Stay put, Gloria. I have something to say to this scumbag. I know you've been sleeping with Sheila. Yeah, she was great, he sneered, eyeing Sheila. I slapped him. You think it's funny? I struck him again. I'll kill you both, he threatened, glaring at Gloria and Sheila. Gloria, come here and stand in front of me, facing Sheila and Stan. Let them see what it's like to watch their lovers with someone else. Gloria stood before me as I undid her pants, revealing her blue panties to Sheila and Stan. You touch her, and I'll cut your balls off, Stan threatened. I've had enough of your talk, you idiot. I silenced Stan by putting a ball gag in his mouth and securing it. Please, Jerry, I love you, Sheila pleaded. A new kind of love where you sleep with other men and have their babies. That's not the love I want, I retorted. I never did what you're accusing me of, Jerry. Except for that one mistake, Sheila insisted. No matter the evidence, you're sticking to your story, aren't you? It's the truth, Jerry, I swear. I warned her to stop lying before I silenced her with a gag too. Then I returned to Gloria, pulling her close against me. She looked at Sheila and Stan as I reached down and touched her. Hey, Stan, enjoying the view of another man touching your woman? I touched Gloria intimately, making Sheila cry and Stan seethe with anger. I stopped when Gloria asked, pulling my hand away as she turned to me. Jerry, if you want, you can have me, but not like this in front of Sheila. I'll do anything you want in private, after we leave. Gloria was right. I had no right to humiliate her. I removed the gag from Stan. You're dead, you bastard, Stan spat. Listen, you're the one tied up, about to meet your end, I said calmly as I fetched a battery charger. What are you doing? Stan asked in fear as I connected the charger's positive lead to his scrotum. He begged for mercy, promising he wouldn't harm us. I attached the negative lead to his penis, causing him to scream in agony. Sheila pleaded for me to stop. If you ever come near us again, I'll make sure the next time it's plugged in, I warned Stan before unplugging the charger, leaving them in terror. With Gloria by my side, we left Stan and Gloria's trailer. I grabbed a few suitcases and went back to gather the rest of Gloria's belongings. As we exited, I could hear Stan and Gloria's voices, still arguing. They were both tied up, and someone would need to untie them. We spent about half an hour collecting Gloria's things. Before leaving, I called Sheila's parents and told them to go to the trailer, but not to take little Jerry with them. Then, we left. Chapter 2. It had been around 9 months since I last saw or heard anything about Sheila or Stan. I decided to take a drive through the old trailer park and see what was there. It felt eerie driving through the familiar streets, a bit like returning to one's roots. Passing by where Stan and Gloria's trailer once stood, I noticed it was now an empty space. It seemed odd that there was no trailer there at all. I drove onto Sheila's trailer, which still stood in its place. However, it looked somehow different. Parking a few trailers away to avoid being seen, I watched as an elderly couple came out and started working in the yard. I started up the truck and pulled forward. Excuse me, does Sheila Ward still live here? I asked. No, son, we live here now. We've been here for about 8 months. We bought the place from a lady named Sheila. I don't know where she and her son moved to. Sorry, we can't help you. But I have her mom's address if that might help, the man replied. I know where her mom lives. Thank you for your time. By the way, the place looks really nice, I said. Thank you, son, and good luck in finding the young lady, he replied. I left the lot, considering paying a visit to Mrs. Ward and her husband Jim. It felt strange calling her Mrs. Ward. I had always just called her mom. I decided to go see her. I never properly said goodbye, and she hadn't done anything wrong to me. I really liked them, but in breakups, someone else always gets hurt. Pulling up in front of Mom's, Mrs. Ward's, house, I took a moment to look at it. Then, I got out of the truck and headed up the long walkway. The place looked the same on the outside. I knocked on the door. Mom answered, Jerry. Oh, my God, it's really you. With tears in her eyes, she hugged me tightly. Jerry, 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 it's so good to see you again. You never said goodbye to us, and it really hurt us. I missed you so much. Come in, she said, pleadingly. Dad, Jerry's here. He came by to see us. In walked Jim, smiling. He shook my hand warmly. It's so good to see you, son. What brings you back to this neck of the woods? I had some free time and thought of you guys, so I decided to stop by and see how everyone's doing. Anyone want anything to drink? Mom offered. Bring Jerry and me both a beer, Jim requested. Mom brought us the drinks, and we all sat on the sofa and chatted. Are you and Gloria still together? Mom inquired. No, we still see each other often and are good friends. Let me explain a bit, if I may. I guess you could say she was rescued from her uncle by Stan, who unfortunately also took advantage of her. She felt indebted to him for getting her away from her uncle's home. But of course, Stan exploited and mistreated her, and I removed her from that situation. Then, I think she felt indebted to me. It was a vicious cycle. So, you never lived together? Mom clarified. We did live together for about 2 months. That's when we realized we loved each other as friends, but not romantically. I wanted to break that cycle for her, so she found her own apartment and is now independent. We still hang out as friends occasionally. She's a really good person. I'm glad she finally has a chance at a better life. She's now a department head at the new Kmart and can support herself. What about you, Jerry? What have you been up to? Mom asked. Well, I finally got my journeyman card. I'm now a fully qualified electrician. I've been working long hours and got a nice apartment not too far from the plant. Just been working hard and saving up some money. Any love in your life, Jerry? Jim inquired. Not really, I don't date much. Occasionally, I ask Gloria out for dinner or something. That's about it. I'm not completely over Sheila. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say anything, you're her parents after all. I noticed she moved and Stan's trailer is gone. Did they leave together? Mom looked at me and said, My God, no. Didn't you hear what happened after you left? No, I haven't spoken to anyone in about 9 months. You guys are the first people I've talked to since the incident, when I left. I'll explain it to you, Jerry. A lot happened after you called us and told us to go to the trailer, which we did. When we arrived, we saw Sheila and that awful man Stan tied up. Stan was naked, and, Jim, you tell him. He was in excruciating pain. I had to remove the clamps from his genitals. Damn, Jerry, you really did a number on him. His private parts were black and blue, and he had to be taken to the hospital. He refused to tell anyone at the hospital what happened. I guess he was embarrassed. The police came, but nobody was talking, so they left. Mom continued, a few days later, that Stan guy got out of the hospital and started bothering Sheila again. She asked him to leave her alone, but he kept pestering her. So, she told her dad, and Jim went to talk to him. About 2 days later, his trailer burned down, and he had to move away. How did the fire start? I inquired. It was arson. Someone set it on fire. The police investigated a few leads but didn't find anything concrete. It's still unsolved. How's Sheila holding up? I asked. She's doing all right, Jerry. She's changed a lot. She's not as happy as she was when you were around, but she's managing well. She's been promoted and now oversees 2 departments. Is she seeing anyone? I asked cautiously. She still loves you, Jerry. She hasn't been on a single date since you left. We're a bit worried, but she says she's content with little Jerry. Just then, a little boy toddled into the room. He looked exactly like me when I was his age. Memories of my childhood flooded back. Dada, he said, addressing me. Mom explained that it was his first word, and he called Jim Dada as well. He looks just like me, I exclaimed. Then I heard Sheila's voice behind me. Because he is yours. She had just returned from work, tears in her eyes. She looked beautiful but different, dressed more professionally. That's not possible. I showed you my DNA, I protested. You showed me the DNA of someone named Jerry Brown, but it wasn't yours. I told you the truth, Jerry. It was a one-time mistake. When you showed me the paperwork, I knew it had to be wrong. I never slept with another man. I knew little Jerry was yours. I collected your toothbrush and hairbrush, anything that might have your DNA. I paid $300 for testing, and a specialist confirmed it was a 99% match. Why didn't you tell me? I asked, bewildered. Why bother, Jerry? I hurt you, and you wanted to be rid of me. You got what you wanted, and I got what I deserved. I was speechless. The woman I loved and loathed stood before me, the mother of the child I barely knew. I looked at little Jerry in her arms. Can I hold him? I asked softly. Of course, you're his dada, she replied, passing him to me. Hey there, little guy. Do you know who I am? By some stroke of fate, little Jerry said, Dada, Dada. Tears welled up in my eyes as I held my son, a grown man overcome with emotion at the time I had lost with him. Sheila asked, Are you staying for the party? What party? I questioned. Then it hit me. It was little Jerry's first birthday. Fate must have brought me here today. Looking at my son, I promised, Daddy will never miss any of your birthdays. I'll always be here for you. Sheila, I'm at a loss for words. I still have feelings for you, but the pain from your betrayal still lingers. Maybe we can take it one day at a time and see if we can work things out. No promises, but we do have a wonderful son together. I glanced at Sheila, seeing tears in her eyes, and asked if she'd join me to buy something for our son's birthday. Sheila looked to her mom, who nodded and said, Go ahead, kids, go shopping. We'll take care of little Jerry. We'll be here when you return. Sheila smiled gratefully at her mom.